Welcome everyone to the Phoenix Report. I am Jack Connor, and this is going to be an interesting thing because I literally just finished playing a show right now as we're recording this. It's the show I've been telling people about online where we've opened for Saliva and there's a lot of other bands, and I have one of those bands with us, or I should say I have one half of one of those bands with me right now. These are guys we've known for a long time, and we've played a bunch of shows. They're good friends of ours from Albany, Georgia. So I have two of the members of Days to Come, Justin Goodson on lead vocals.
Hey, what's up, guys?
And I have Taylor Hartley on bass.
Hey, everybody, what's going on?
All right, no, who else is in the band? I know Russell is the drummer. Or...
Negative.
Oh, not anymore,
Russell,
sorry.
Yeah, Russell left around November, December of last year.
Edit it out.
And now we have Jesse Ivy.
Gotcha.
He plays drums.
So yeah. Jesse Ivy on drums and Brandon on guitar?
Brandon plays guitar,
yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. So you guys have been doing a lot of work lately. I mean, I've been paying attention to what you guys have been up to, and especially, it seems like it's necessary for being in a town like Albany, Georgia. Not many people really know where it is. Or at least, I mean, that's the impression I get. I'm not trying to.
No, it is. It's a small town. I mean, it's not Atlanta. You know, it's
right.
not Miami. It's not a New York or a Los Angeles. You know, so, but we are kind of in a nice central location to where it's fairly easy for us to jump down to Florida and play shows, or jump up, north to like Atlanta or the Carolinas to play shows. So we're not too far from north or south,
What's it been like trying to get, some traction in your hometown? Have people been pretty receptive out there? Is, a lot of people coming out to shows, or?
They are, it's hard. I think playing in your hometown is like playing anywhere else. You really have to prove yourself, and you can't do that on one show.
Right.
I don't even think you can do that over the course of a year. It
right.
really takes just consistency and hard work, and proving that you are worth representing your hometown.
Yeah.
I mean, we're incredibly proud to be from Albany, as that's where the band is from, and we try to represent our hometown as well as we can while we're out on the road playing shows.
It really does say a lot for you guys, the fact that you've been on the road as much as you have, especially not necessarily touring full time, because it's tough to do that when you're unsigned and you guys are realistic enough about that. But I'm almost reminded of like when Three Doors Down first started, and those guys were from Mississippi, and they ended up getting their first airplay in Tampa, so they would come down this way quite a bit as well. And even to your point about proving yourself in your hometown, we've kind of run into something similar here in Melbourne, because it's a relatively small town here, about an hour from Orlando. But it took us about, I want to say maybe a year and a half before people started kind of coming out. And not that people weren't coming out before, but it's just like it took us a while for us to get a foothold here, and we're kind of still working it right now. And we've been together almost 4 years now, so it's a slow process, and it's definitely tough nowadays. Justin, I heard your set earlier today. You said something that really kind of stuck out to me, how in 2017 it's really, really tough to get people to come out and see live music. And this is no secret, everybody knows that, but the fact that you acknowledge that and you thank the fans, the people for coming out, I think really says a lot. And the fact that you're aware of it, and I think a lot of people have misconceptions about that. Wouldn't you agree?
I totally agree. With the internet, and social media, everything is accessible right now on your phone. You can listen to anything you want at any time, and there's not really any urgency to come out to shows as much as it was, in years past. So that's why we're always so thankful when people do come out to shows, because they do want to, experience something live
Sure.
that you can't get from watching, your phone or a television or your computer screen.
Yeah, I mean, people have so many different entertainment options right now, so it's
and that's also one of the reasons why we really push ourselves with a live show, of high energy. Because if someone wanted to come listen to music, I mean, you could listen to music anywhere, but we want to try to be as energetic as we can to give somebody, an experience.
Absolutely.
Really try to entertain.
Absolutely. And going back for a little bit, though, how did you guys all meet? How did everyone get together?
Well, I was searching around online, and I come up on a Craigslist ad, and that's where I found the ad posted by Justin. And it took me 2 or 3 days to contemplate whether or not I was going to email him, and finally decided on it. And we started doing acoustic shows around town, little restaurants and bars here and there. And from there, it just blossomed. We ended up picking up Brandon. And then later on, we ended up picking up Russell. And it just blew up from there.
For sure. People tend to discount, the value of open mics and acoustic nights and stuff like that, or because you're going jamming covers. That I've always said, and especially anytime you run into like younger guys asking for advice who want to get in bands, or people who be like, man, I would love to start a band. I play drums, but I've never played with anybody. I'm like, well, go out to like an open mic, because you never know who you're going to run into.
Oh, yeah.
You might meet someone with similar interests.
Yeah. Open mic night, actually, in our hometown is how we, as a band, made our debut.
That was true. Yeah, that was our very first show. We got up there and played, 3 songs, and absolutely loved it. It was a great first experience that personally I've been able to hang on to and remember, because you're going to play a lot of less than perfect shows.
Sure.
Either where something goes wrong, or attendance is low, or you're just not feeling it. But you do need to hang on to, a really positive time. And that very first show we did was probably a horrible show, but it was just a ton of fun. And, that just continues to push us forward.
Absolutely. And how many years have you guys been together now?
A little more than 3. I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right at 3, yeah.
Sure. Yeah. No, it's about the same with us. I know. We certainly our 2 bands kind of cross paths through Blind Anxiety Entertainment,
Yep.
and you guys coming down here, and we actually last year we ended up returning the favor and coming up
Yep.
coming up to Albany, Georgia. In fact, my wife and I were up there recently on our quote unquote baby moon, so, taking a little trip there. I was like, hey, I have friends in the area,
Yep.
but yeah, no, you guys have been working pretty steadily, and it's just it's always a tough thing having to go on the road, because there's a lot of expense, there's time away from family, and but I think you guys are smart about doing it, about touring regionally, and not necessarily quitting all your day jobs and just going in and just going all in, and because a lot of people do that, and that's that's a tough strategy to pull off a lot of times.
And I mean, like, we love doing this. Obviously, we're passionate about it, but it is a job, and we would love for this to one day be our day jobs.
Absolutely.
And but that takes time. It's like any small business. It takes time. You can't just quit the job that is providing for you or your family, and pursue this because, I love music. I mean, because you're not gonna be making enough money to survive, and
Yeah.
that's just irresponsible, So yeah, we're taking our time, and as often as we're able to get out and play shows, we're totally doing it, because I think that is a necessary part of making it, in the industry, just continually keeping your name out there and connecting with other bands, and just getting better at playing shows,
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you guys had ever run into this. I'm assuming you guys had probably played in other bands before getting together, maybe?
I did.
Yeah.
I actually, not really. My brother and I, we used to play.
Oh, okay.
But not like an official band, so.
It's always difficult finding the right guys to come through. It's like, I've always said, like, I'm not necessarily looking for the best players. I'm looking for the right players to be with. And you have to have people you're going to get along with as people, because it's like, I don't care if you're the best musician in the world. If you're a jerk, I don't want to be in the tour bus with you.
Oh, yeah.
100% agree. It all comes down to attitudes.
And just all the skill level and the right chemistry and everything, and the same goals, I think.
Yep.
It sounds like everyone's on the same page, regarding being realistic. Obviously, like, yes, we're a small band, but we're trying to make our way. But you guys are doing it the right way, I think.
Thank you.
And I see a lot of similarities between both our bands. Really, we're all kind of in a similar position. You're juggling real life versus this pipe dream that we love.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
So, but you bring up a point about about music today and the internet, and how and how the music business has changed so much. I feel like for some reason, like, rock music in particular seems to suffer the most out of all the genres that are up there. Because and do you guys have any theories on that? Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I a couple years ago, the whole rock is dead, and obviously that's due to sales. But I don't think rock's not going anywhere. It may come and go in popularity, but it's definitely here to stay. And I think it's ultimately because of the fans of the genre, the fans of the bands. You don't see a lot of people that jump on a bandwagon because of a single. That may be the door that they get to know a band, but they ultimately fall in love with the band and the music, and they follow them for years and years and years. And that's why you see these bands with incredible fan bases that are sustaining their careers. But you don't really see that as much in pop music. Pop music, you may be on top of the world and then gone. And it's just like you're a one-hit wonder, and you don't see that as much, I think, within the rock genre.
I mean, it can happen, but
it can happen, but I don't see that quite as much. So, is it not quite as popular as it used to be? No, but I definitely don't see it, going out of style.
Yeah, I know someone brought up to me the point that the fact that a lot of bands tend to be created, sort of self-created, and a lot of people who write their own stuff and kind of make their own thing, and so it's kind of less easy for them to be controlled by outside forces, I guess, whether it's management or record company, what have you. So I wonder if that has something to do with it or not. Like it's a lot harder to manufacture a rock band.
Yeah.
But I mean, and I would also say, just piggybacking off of that, is the definition of making it, or even being successful. An independent band compared to being, one on a label. Obviously, the resources are greater on a label. You're going to get more exposure and the potential for more fans, but at what cost? Depending on the deal that you have. And I think an independent band, if they do it right, they take their time and they really treat it like a business. They make sure that all the guys are on the same page and they move forward, in the direction where they're going. They can be very successful. They could have a core fan base over many, many years that can sustain them and ultimately be their day jobs. But they're not going to be, a Kesha or something, or Britney Spears.
Although that is possible, I think. I mean, it is possible to cross over from an indie.
Oh, I totally. I wasn't knocking labels at all.
Sure.
But just saying, you can be successful as an independent artist, and I think that's what's required now, because a lot of labels, they're not doing as much artist development as they used to. They're looking for a full product that then they can just tap into and expand upon.
Yeah, which, I mean, even calling back to what we were talking about doing regional, just regional shows and doing like weekend trips and stuff like that. That's kind of how you kind of build that on your own. It's very tough because like you said, there's not a lot of A&R like there used to be. That's kind of how you do and get that experience by going and playing. Have you guys managed to work Atlanta at all?
We've played there a couple of times, and actually, which we'll say on this podcast that we have not announced on social media yet.
Okay. You heard it here first.
So this is first here.
Well,
exclusive.
Depending on when I put this out, but
we're scheduled to open up for Art of Anarchy.
Yes.
On July 16th, which is a Sunday, at the Masquerade in Atlanta.
The Masquerade is a great venue. I played there years ago, like 12 years ago, with one of my first bands. It's a really cool, just legendary club in Atlanta. Art of Anarchy, for those who don't know, they're a super group. They feature Bumblefoot, formerly of Guns N' Roses, John Moyer, the bass player from Disturbed, and Scott Stapp of Creed on lead vocals, who replaced Scott Weiland, before he passed away. So they're a really good super group, and so that should be a really big show, big opportunity for you guys. I know you guys have a show with Skillet as well.
Yes. It's going to be a really good show out at Wild Adventures theme park in Valdosta, Georgia. Close to 30,000 folks. It's going to be
the Wild Adventure shows are
phenomenal.
Huge.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, any time that an independent band can get in with like a name act like that, it's always a great thing, because it's something you could put on your resume and say,
exactly.
I played with this person, I played with that, and it's like no matter what happens, like I can tell my kids that like I've played with this person or whoever it may be. So it's always a really good feeling. So but talking about some of these name bands, who are some of you guys' influences? Just do you have any personal ones, or just music, I should say?
For me, I was in about 7th grade, right around the time the Fall of the Leader album came out by Korn.
Yeah.
And that's what started me back into my trek into heavy music, because I grew up listening to heavy music because of my dad.
Yeah.
And then right around 7th grade, early 7th grade, and I started listening to that bubblegum pop stuff because I wanted to try and get girls.
I don't blame you.
Yeah. Listening to it all, and then finally I heard that and was hooked, and I've been following Korn ever since, and other bands like that.
Were you a big fan of Fieldy?
Yes.
And his playing?
Oh yeah.
He's got a unique style, just like, he would always tune it so low, you almost couldn't even hear the notes. It was just like, it was almost a more percussive bass sound, which bass is a rhythm instrument anyway.
And he really doesn't have any mid-range control either. He just cuts it all out, which is unreal to me.
It's tough to pick it out sometimes in their recordings, but like on stuff like Got the Life, you can tell him he's like slapping the hell out of it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Justin, what about you?
I grew up listening to classic rock and pop, I guess, like R&B and soul.
Sure.
So like Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson and Prince. I grew up listening to all those guys, and probably, late teenage years is when I started to get into heavier music.
Yeah.
So I found like Shinedown and Breaking Benjamin and Three Doors Down, and eventually found Alter Bridge.
Yeah.
Which are my number one musical influence.
They're one of my favorites as well.
I just love everything they create.
Sure.
And then Tremonti with his side project band, I think, is obviously phenomenal as well. So it's really hard for me to find a band that has been together as long as they have, and to top them.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I would say your voice is very reminiscent of Miles's, especially you have that higher tenor range as well, so it fits with that kind of material. You can hear it immediately.
I thank you. I mean, I love him. But as when I first started to sing, I was probably 19 or 20 years old, and you go through your different voices, trying to figure out who you are and get comfortable with yourself. I started to emulate these other singers, and I would do a horrible job, and after I found Alter Bridge, I started to really try to piece together, some of the techniques that Miles was using, and a lot of them they fit.
Sure.
They work. And I'm not sore at all, and I guess we have very similar, vocal types.
Yeah.
And he really kind of helped me in feeling okay that I have a higher voice, because it's not masculine at all. I don't really use any grit. I don't scream.
I mean, it doesn't seem like it's as common nowadays.
Yeah, especially with most rock music, which is almost borderline metal. If you're listening to like Octane.
That's one of my number one pet peeves. Is like almost every band now has to have like the Cookie Monster vocal thing in there, and I'm like you. I like singing.
Yep.
I like voice. I'm a lot, probably because we both grew up on the classic rock stuff. Like, especially even like back in the day, you hear a lot more higher singers. Like,
I mean, the '80s that was all over.
Yeah.
Your Judas Priest, your Iron Maidens.
Absolutely.
Yep, Rush. So you just don't hear that as much anymore. So hopefully that will separate us a little bit.
Yeah.
And hopefully it'll separate in a positive way.
Or even like someone who had a high voice but really made it work. I think Mickey Hart from like Jefferson Starship.
Yep.
Yeah, if you ever hear like Jane or something, the dude just wails over top of it. But yeah, no, it's I think that's why our bands gravitated toward each other, because we're very much cut from a similar cloth.
Yep.
Very similar influences, and even like you mentioned, Michael and Prince, stuff like that. I mean, you listen to Beat It and some of Prince's stuff. That's like a gateway into rock music as it is. So it's all kind of connected. So it makes sense. So you guys got quite a few other plans ahead of you. Where can people find your stuff, find your music?
They can find us online. We have a website, just daystocomemusic.com. We're on all the social media things, so Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and you can pretty much just search Days to Come Music, and you'll find us on there. We try to be pretty active, talking to our fans and friends on there. So hit us up on Facebook or Twitter, and let's connect. So that way you can come out to a show, and we can actually meet you in person, and we just try to have a good time.
For sure, man. I think people love to connect with people's personalities almost as much as like the music nowadays, because they love to get to know you, feel like they know you personally. So with that being said, what would be something about your band that most people might not know about the guys from Days to Come? doesn't have to be too salacious or whatever. I don't want to get too personal. It just
that Brandon is not as energetic as he appears in our vlogs.
Yeah.
In real life,
low-key?
In real life, he's very relaxed. You know, he's not high strung at all. I mean, and he puts on incredible performance when we're playing, a show, or even in our vlogs. He just becomes a little more lively. But yeah, in real life, he's pretty reserved.
It's similar to Ryan. I'm not sure he spoke until the first year we were together. So no, that's not true. He did, but he's a very quiet guy. But it's funny how like everyone has their own personality in the band. Everyone brings their own little dynamics into the band. Like I almost had Ryan and Jarrett sit in on this one, but they get kind of nervous sometimes when it comes to like speaking in front of people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so. Different personalities. I mean, they work really well together. So, and that's one of the things that makes your band probably work so well. Is you guys, you're not all the same. You are.
Thanks. I hope it works for now. So we're just like you guys, man. We're just out there just trying to pound the pavement as much as possible. And but yeah, man, we both just finished up a set. It was just super hot out today, and it's starting to rain. Hopefully, it doesn't rain the rest of the show out. I don't know about you guys, but I'm really looking forward to Saliva. I'm a big fan of those guys.
Me too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's cool, man. Thank you, Justin and Taylor from Days to Come for appearing on the show. Definitely keep an eye out on these guys.
Appreciate you having us. Thank you.
All right,
very
peace
much.
out. Thank you once again to Justin and Taylor from Days to Come. Such great guys, man. They're an excellent band. I definitely recommend that you get the chance to check them out. Days to Come is the name. Their website is daystocomemusic.com, and just a fantastic band out of Albany, Georgia. I feel like me and the guys in Vertebraker feel a really strong kinship with those guys. It's very similar in style, similar in attitude and work ethic, and just great all around. So I definitely recommend you get the chance to check them out. If you like my band, chances are you'll probably like theirs. I definitely want to take the time to say thanks to James from Blind Anxiety Entertainment for putting us on that show. It was July 1st, Saturday. Just one of our biggest shows to date. I want to say there had to be like 200 to 300 people there at Space Coast Harley-Davidson. We got a really good reception. Played with some fantastic bands. I recorded a bunch of podcasts there, so over the next couple episodes, I'll be putting those out. Some of them are kind of shorter interviews, but I definitely want to put them out because I got to meet some really cool people and to catch up with some old friends, and really got a really good couple of guests. So thankfully, that should keep you guys held over for a little while in terms of podcast content. I almost had Saliva, the guys from Saliva. I almost had them on the show here, but that didn't happen. But I'm gonna keep trying because that would be a really good get, and you never know, it could happen one day. But I'm really just thankful that I got the chance to do that, and I'm thankful. Recently on Friday, the 14th, I got the chance to play a acoustic show by myself, and got to play that at the Haven in Winter Park, and got joined by another former podcast guest, Bobby Keller from Mechanism. He was nice enough to join me, as was Super Dave from WJRR. So that would be. Hopefully, I can get Super Dave on the podcast real quick. He would be great. It would be nice, getting an actual professional broadcaster on here to kind of lead me through it, or at least give me some advice. So hopefully we can do that, but I'm sure it would be a great conversation either way. But thank you to those two guys for joining me on stage to finish out my acoustic set, and thanks to Clint from The Haven for having me on for that. So hopefully there will be more acoustic shows at The Haven. That would be a lot of fun. Before I end the show today, I definitely want to take the time to express just my sorrow and condolences for for all the friends and fans of the band Adrenaline Mob. Adrenaline Mob is just a fantastic band featuring Russell Allen from Symphony X on lead vocals. They had just a terrible accident last Friday, Friday the 14th, on I-75 in Florida, where their van and I should say their RV and their trailer got hit by a semi truck, and unfortunately their bass player David Z lost his life. in the accident, and the other guys are banged up but okay. And I think there were a few other fatalities for some of their crew members. Just a terrible tragedy, and such a shame to happen, especially for a guy so young. So it's definitely want to send my condolences. Rest in peace, David Z. Just a fantastic bass player and fantastic musician. So definitely wanted to make sure I said that. But as far as some upcoming events for Vertebreaker, we are playing on Friday, July 28th at Orlando Brewing. This is going to be our first time at Orlando Brewing. So I'm really excited about that, to play a new venue. We will be there with our friends Relic and Helios. We know the guys from Helios, and also the singer for Helios is Christina Feliciano, who also sings for Oblivious Signal. So we know a few of the people in that band, but this is our first time playing with Helios, so it should be a really cool event. Definitely come out and see us. We don't have a lot of shows scheduled after that. I know things have been busy for all of us lately. I know Ryan is on tour with Lydia Can't Breathe. I just became a father recently, so my daughter was born about a month ago. So I've been pretty busy with that, and we've been working on getting our record out and writing a lot of new stuff. So come out and see us, because I don't know when our next show is going to be after that, but just keep posted, and we always have something going on. So you never know. But thank you for listening to the Phoenix Report this weekend. Make sure you follow me on Facebook at facebook.com/jackconnormusic. Follow me on Twitter at jackxconnor. You can tweet me with the hashtag Phoenix Report. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can always leave a comment here. Like this podcast. Definitely go back and listen to all the other episodes. Definitely a lot of good stuff. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. And that'll be it, man. So thank you. This has been the Phoenix Report. I'm Jack Connor. I'll see you later.